The Black Heritage Tree Project is so important not only to me, but to the collective memory of our community, because there are so many stories that have been left out of the narrative. American history has cracks in the foundation, and this project is helping to fill those cracks and repair the foundation of our collective memory and narrative of American history, Texas history, Galveston County history, and world history. I am BOI, born on island, so seventh generation Texan. So this history has been important to our family for almost 200 years. Roots go back here in Texas to 1837. I became part of the Black Heritage Tree Project this year. Last year we began, and we're working in St. Croix, Tulsa, Houston, and several of these areas are much larger than the city of Galveston.
So that connection to faith, that connection to spirituality is so strong in Greenwood that the connection to trees and what you're seeing in this image actually calls that forth. And we're here in Galveston County because we want to talk about the story of Black Galveston, its East End district, the island itself, the county, and the 1867 settlement, and all the people who came together to build many different parts of Galveston. And we're here in front of the Britton Oaks. My name is Dr. Alicia Odewale. I'm an archaeologist and an educator and a National Geographic explorer. I'm the director of this lovely project. So the trees that we lost during Hurricane Ike in 2008, there were over 40,000 trees that were lost on the island of Galveston during that time. But I know the Tree Conservancy and Galveston has been replanting. I think they're up to 23,000 trees now. Our work in the Black Heritage Tree Project is to work alongside people like this, but to talk about the trees that we have left, to preserve the trees that we have left, these ancestor trees, these storytellers, the oldest storytellers on this island and in this county.
I'm Clinton. I'm a storyteller and explorer, and I use maps, technology, and empathy to help communities go from unseen to undeniable. That includes the heritage, the stories, the experiences of communities that often get swept under the rug, pushed to the side, even though they have long since deserved to be front and center. And in my role, I'm helping us to explore ways that we can use maps. And when I say maps, I'm talking about digital maps. So data we collect from our phones or websites, and bring that data, which happens to be our stories and these trees and the stories that lie under the shade of these trees, bring that closer and closer into focus in new ways, maybe some compelling ways that'll help folks who see it later feel more immersed in those stories and immersed in that experience.
These trees were planted, but there's native live oaks this size, I'm sure, in this neighborhood somewhere. But this was a bald prairie back in 1867. So some of the trees you see here were planted by the people that lived and built these houses.
I remember the hustle and bustle around this area. Kids growing up, and everybody was kin to everybody at the time. You know, the Bells, the Brittons, the Hopgoods, the Caldwells, and all of the offspring. We had a good time in this area. Everybody grew up together, and we all knew we were kin. It was definitely a lot more alive with our great aunts and uncles, which would have been the second generation of the ancestors who originally came here in 1867 settlement. Once they found out that they were free, the only area that was designated for freedmen was here in the settlement. It was a 230-acre tract, and this is where they settled. That is why these trees are called, well, the Britton Oaks, because that was one of the families that brought them. Down the street are the Bell Oaks, but these are the families that came into the settlement, and they brought them from the Butler plantation. So they were saplings at the time that they came, or they brought them and planted them. But that is why we really love our trees around here and talk about them, because of the fact that these came from the plantation. They brought them as saplings. And so these trees have seen a lot of history from that.
When I was sitting over there in that chair, I was pretending that I was here in 1867 and how the shade would be the same. The breeze would be the same. I wouldn't hear any cars. And how we belong here.